ketemunya kita, para arsitek, kemudian para vendor, para pembicara untuk kolaborasi bersama-sama untuk melihat ke depan dan memajukan arsitektur Indonesia.
It's been a really good experience coming over to see the various different speakers from Indonesia and also the international speakers as well. I think it's a great idea to create dialogue between nations, and I think we've got a lot to learn from each other.
Eventnya sangat baik, memberikan banyak input ataupun masukan, juga inspirasi bagi pelaku bisnis maupun desainer-desainer di Indonesia.
AKID ini memberikan benefit yang baik pada acara ini. Arsitek-arsitek Indonesia bisa berani lebih jauh mendorong arsitek kontemporer yang berbasis ketukangan yang peduli terhadap pengurangan energi di dalam gedung.
Buat saya acaranya sangat menarik. Dalam sesi conference kita menghadirkan arsitek ternama dari Indonesia dan di luar negeri. Di sesi pameran menurut saya juga tidak kalah menarik. Di dalamnya banyak venue-venue untuk small conference dan small talks yang menurut saya cukup dinamis.
So we have a lot of architects working with that tradition, and we also have architects working in very modern global language, doing buildings that could be anywhere in the world.
Always try to design with cultural identity in mind. If I have to build something in Indonesia, it will be different to Malaysia. Because the climate is different, the cultures are different, they all are different.
Referring back to some of our historic buildings, give you a sense of a better existence and a much more cultured existence. Learning the past to understand the present and to predict the future.
When you do town planning, you're not just talking about a single building, not just physical needs, but mental and social needs. And on top of that, how do you actually imbue the enrichment of society, the enrichment of lifestyle?
Not many countries have had the opportunity to build high-quality, world-class residential townships from scratch. In Malaysia, we have wonderful townships which give people a very good quality of life.
Every place in the world has its own climate, and so designing to respond to climate is the first aspect of green design. Now, there are many architects in Malaysia who are very creatively inventive. They've come up with ideas, with systems, with devices that push forward this field of green design.
What the architectural industry is offering or can offer, it can go beyond the geographical boundary of Malaysia. After the Indian Ocean tsunami, at Aceh. So when I was there, the needs for architectural services in rebuilding houses, rebuilding schools, clinics, hospitals, and so on are very high.
The buildings that you do shall outlive you. So it is not just for yourself and your generation, but it is for the future generation.
Architecture can't just be about design. I believe architecture should involve other people aside from architects. It could be communities, it could be other professions. currently and will be in the future, is that the role of architecture is very diverse.
I do believe that the level of skill is actually very high in our Malaysian community of architects.
So you find that Malaysian architects can also work in other countries, like China, Africa, or India, or Australia. Basically because that ability to create.
And today, our professionals are working everywhere. Malaysian architecture is a universal service that can be offered.
The most important aspect of architecture is to make people happy. Then your purpose in life as an architect is fulfilled.
You can bring up something, really iconic, and to be remembered and to be enjoyed by the people. Other things can pass, but architecture will stand out.
adalah tempat buat bertemunya kita, para arsitek, kemudian para vendor, para pembicara, untuk kolaborasi bersama-sama untuk melihat ke depan dan memajukan arsitektur Indonesia.
It's been a really good experience coming over to see the various different speakers from Indonesia and also the international speakers as well. I think it's a great idea to create dialogue between nations, and I think we've got a lot to learn from each other.
Eventnya sangat baik, memberikan banyak input ataupun masukan, juga inspirasi bagi pelaku bisnis maupun desainer-desainer di Indonesia.
AKID ini memberikan benefit yang baik. Pada acara ini, arsitek-arsitek Indonesia bisa berani lebih jauh mendorong arsitek kontemporer yang berbasis ketukangan yang peduli terhadap pengurangan energi di dalam gedung.
Buat saya acaranya sangat menarik. Dalam sesi conference kita menghadirkan arsitek ternama dari Indonesia dan di luar negeri. Di sesi pameran menurut saya juga tidak kalah menarik. Di dalamnya banyak venue-venue untuk small conference dan small talks yang menurut saya cukup dinamis.
Architects are creators.
Translating it from an idea.
Makes up the towns and cities we live in.
We are problem solvers.
A determination how the people actually live.
One of the challenges that our architects have always worked with here in Malaysia is how to create an architecture that's both contemporary but is also respectful and rooted in the many, many strong, rich traditions from each of the various ethnic communities. So we have a lot of architects working with that tradition, and we also have architects working in very modern global language, doing buildings that could be anywhere in the world.
Always try to design with cultural identity in mind. If I have to build something in Indonesia, it will be different to Malaysia because the climate is different, the cultures are different, they all are different.
Referring back to some of our historic buildings, give you a sense of a better existence and a much more cultured existence. Learning the past to understand the present and to predict the future.
When you do town planning, you're not just talking about a single building. Not just physical needs, but mental and social needs. And on top of that, how do you actually imbue the enrichment of society, the enrichment of lifestyle?
Not many countries have had the opportunity to build high-quality, world-class residential townships from scratch. In Malaysia, we have wonderful townships which give people a very good quality of life.
Every place in the world has its own climate. And so designing to respond to climate is the first aspect of green design. Now, there are many architects in Malaysia who are very creatively inventive. They've come up with ideas, with systems, with devices that push for this field of green design.
What the architectural industry is offering or can offer, it can go beyond the geographical boundary of Malaysia after the Indian Ocean tsunami at Aceh. So when I was there, the needs for architectural services in rebuilding houses, rebuilding schools, clinics, hospitals and so on are very high.
The buildings that you do shall outlive you. So it is not just for yourself and your generation, but it is for the future generation.
Architecture can't just be about design. I believe architecture should involve other people aside from architects. It could be communities, it could be other professions. currently and will be in the future, that the role of architecture is very diverse.
I do believe that the level of skill is actually very high in our Malaysian community of architects.
So you find that Malaysian architects can also work in other countries, maybe China, Africa, or India, or Australia. Basically because their ability to create.
And today, our professionals are working everywhere. Malaysian architecture is a universal service that can be offered.
The most important aspect of architecture is to make people happy. Then your purpose in life as an architect is fulfilled.
You can bring up something, really iconic, and to be remembered and to be enjoyed by the people. Other things can pass, but architecture will stand up.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we are about to begin, please have a comfort seat wherever you are. In order to respect each other who have attended, and so that the event can run well, I request all participants and also all speakers to turn off, to mute the microphone. But for all the speakers, please turn all your video. Okay, let me first introduce you to the agenda. We will set the ball rolling with a launching ceremony, and it will be followed with a webinar session. The webinar will be held in 4 break rooms, separated by project categories. We will provide heritage break rooms, faith, ecology, and density break rooms. The 4 break rooms will be open after the launching ceremony is over. Participants may choose one of the 4 break rooms and are allowed to move from one break room to another. Okay then, I hope everyone is ready. Hello, good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be among all of us, all of you, on this auspicious day. I hope you are all in a good and healthy condition. My name is Teresia Purnomo, and on behalf of 4 Nation Book e-Launch Committee, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to this event, Contiguous Archipelago, 4 Nation Joint eBook Launch and Webinar. It is our privilege to have you with us today. We hope you all will find the program to be fruitful and engaging. We are now ready to begin the proceedings of the launching ceremony. Since the signing of the Mutual Recognition Arrangement of Architectural Services, architects' institutes from around Asian countries continues to seek to collaborate with fellow architects' institute to increase interaction and explore the potential for cross-border collaboration. The Four Nations Group is an informal alliance between the Professional Architectural Institute of Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia, who convene regularly and have collaborated closely on the aspect of practice and education. This book, jointly commissioned by the institutes, seeks to deepen this relationship by anchoring it within design discourse as well. The book presents a collection of outstanding buildings recently completed in these four countries and explore both commonalities and differences across the works. In so doing, we hope to set the new platform to discuss architectural culture in the region. Okay, right now, being here with us all, presidents of Four Nations Architects Institutes from SIA Singapore, PAM Malaysia, ASA Thailand, and AIA Indonesia. I will invite the four presidents to give remarks, and we are privileged to have the first remarks from Mr. Lai Teck Chuan, President of Singapore Institute of Architects. Please welcome.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, good. Good evening, friends of the Four Nations and the architectural fraternity. Thank you for joining us today. I'm humbled to be part of the Four Nations Contiguous Archipelago book launch today. Together with my counterparts from Ikatan Arsitek in Indonesia, Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia, and the Association of the Siamese Architects. This book is the result of the hard work for the past 2 years from all four of the professional architectural institutes of Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. The team put together a selection of the best architectural works from these four nations, which created the Contiguous Archipelago that we finally launched today. Many thanks to our Chief Editor, Architect Teo Chin and his team for making this possible. The collaboration for this book is more than just a celebration of great architecture. Rather, it symbolizes a unity between architects of the four nations, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. On that note, I would like to also take this opportunity to share with everyone here on our upcoming ArchiFest 2021, themed as Design Evidence, and helmed by this festival director, Architect Rizwan. Starting from 1st October, the festival will run all the way until 31st October, where we will have a wide range of events lined up. The conference will also be held from 12th to the 14th of October, and we are excited to share that there is a group of fantastic speakers lined up for you. I look forward to having you participate in our annual festivals and celebrate architecture together. I look forward to continuing our strong relationship with the other professional architectural institutes, IAI, PAM, and ASA. Once again, thank you for joining us today, and I hope that you will enjoy the sharing by the architects of the 20 projects featured. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have heard from Mr. Lai Teck Chuan, President of SIA. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. Chutaya Sintupan, the Vice President of ASA, the Association of Siamese Architects under Royal Patronage. Please welcome.
Thank you for a warm welcome. On behalf of President Chana, it is a great opportunity for our four nations to create the first collaborative publication to showcase the architecture projects from each nation. I believe that this book will be a regional platform to promote knowledge sharing in the field of architecture design and encourage global success in best practice and give inspiration to architects to actively improve and develop their architectural designs. I hope this is the first but not the last, and this publication will continue in various topics in the near future, and hope this book will honor the lifetime achievement of architects whose work has been published in it. ASA believes that architecture is not only aesthetically and visually attractive, but it also helps lifting people's spirit. It enhances the quality of life and the sense of place and belonging. And then the architecture then should highlight the importance of creating a better quality of life and create a place where people can learn and grow together. And the selected project in this book are dedicated to help people create sustainable public spaces and build strong communities and benefits the public. ASA would like to extend our gratitude to SIA and the editorial team for the achievement on this first book. And furthermore, the thanks go to the editor in each country for their contribution and ensuring the success of these issues. As ASA Vice President and close friends to the former presidents of AIA, Architect Ahmad, I would like to pay tribute to his kindness and his dedication to create a positive impact on the architecture and design industry throughout Indonesia, and his contribution to build successful collaborative among our four nations. I would follow his path and further strengthen our friendship, our partnership, and continuing this fruitful collaboration about our four nations in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chutayaves Sintupan, Vice President of ASA. Next remarks will be from Dato Ezumi Harzani Ismail, President of Pertubuhan Arsitek Malaysia. Please welcome.
Thank you, Teresa. Good day, everyone, friends and colleagues from Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, and Malaysia. First of all, I have to give this special thanks to the president from all the collaborating institute, President Richard Lai, President Ketut Rana, President Chana Sumpalong, just now represented by Vice President Chutayaves, and all our friends and colleagues in Ikatan Arsitek Indonesia, Singapore Institute of Architects, Association of Siamese Architects, and PAM. I welcome you to this event. I must thank and congratulate Ikatan Arsitek Indonesia, or also known as ERE, IAI, for organizing this virtual launching of the Four Nation book. This is the first in history, the Four Nation book, Contiguous Archipelago, to be virtually launched simultaneously by the four institutes. I also wish to take this opportunity to congratulate the four editors, collaborating editors, Architect Sali, Dr. Ratapong, Architect Yasri, and of course, the leader in the coordination, Architect Yi Ching from Singapore Institute of Architects. And I must also congratulate all the award-winning architects from the four countries with their excellent, outstanding works being selected to be published in the book. This is the first book that we publish, and we hope that we are going to publish this book. My original intention to have it on annually, but at the end, due to this pandemic, we have decided to produce a book every 2 years. But we hope in future we can do it on annual basis. And this is not just about the book. The 4 nation collaboration between Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Indonesia, actually, we have been discussing about the cross-country collaboration, not just for the architectural services, but we also talk about how the exchange program for students and how we have also conducted the life design discourse with students participating from the 4 institutes being mentored under the professional architect also from the 4 institute. It is a very unique arrangement. Okay? The birth of a life design discourse under this 4 nations collaboration, where actually every group of students represented by all the 4 countries. So every group, we have the representative from Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Indonesia, and led by mentor, a professional architect, a young professional architect from each institute. We have done a series. We have done series of life design discourse, but unfortunately, for last year program, for this year, we cannot proceed due to this pandemic. But we really hope that we are now looking into conducting a virtual life design discourse. This is a real test to virtual collaboration. Even the publication of this book is a real test to virtual cross-country collaboration. We hope that it won't stop. The collaboration among the 4 countries won't stop at publication of this book, but we can continue to collaborate in offering the professional services as well. So I hope the participants today, you enjoy the sharing from the presenters who are specially selected by the editors. And on behalf of PAM also, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our members, supporters, and also sponsors for their continuous support for our institute. We truly appreciate your continuous support and contribution, even under the current pandemic situation. Your continuous support to us and to be with us very much appreciated. This is to make architecture better for the people. So thank you very much. Back to you, Teresa.
Okay, a very insightful remarks from Dato Ezumi, President of PAM. Last but not least, I would like to welcome Mr. Ketut Ranawiarca, President of AIA, Indonesian Architects Institute, to give remarks. Please welcome.
Thank you, Teresa. Good afternoon, everybody. It is a pleasure to be among of all of you. First and foremost, I wish to honor the former president of IAI, the late architect Ahmad Johara, for his determination to build up architecture nationwide and region-wide, while upholding its harmony and equality. As you know, Indonesia is a large and diverse archipelago with 34 provinces and almost 17,504 islands. In this book alone, Indonesia contributes 5 works located in 5 provinces as well within DKI Jakarta. As you know, Jakarta is the capital of Indonesia. And next, West Java, Yogyakarta, and north of Sumatra. Each project has a unique concept and implementation to suit a different context. A regulatory response, the key spirit of 4-nation relationship is collaboration. I'd like to underline again, the spirit of 4-nation relationship is collaboration. It's very important thing, important word, collaboration and knowledge exchange across the countries. This book is only the beginning. In the future, we should together publish not only architectural works, but also contemporary architectural ideas and even solutions for global issue and problem with the local wisdom in each country. I'd like to give special appreciation to SIA, Singapore Institute of Architects, who is serving as the chief editor. It also would like to thank the editors in each country for their contribution. through this book, we enhance the culture of course of our countries, with our collaboration while adding the richness of world architecture. So in this moment, let me express to our Honorable President of SIA, Architect Lai Teck Chuan, sorry to mistake of our pronunciation. The Honorable President of ASA, Mr. Chana Sumpalung. The Honorable President of PEM, Architect Datuk Ezumi. Honorable committees, media, journalists, and of course, all dear fellow participants of today's session of Four Nations. I'd like to welcome all participating parties to be able to stay tuned and enjoy our activity today. As for after this, we are going to have webinar and we could participate a fruitful discussion. Lastly, we are hopeful that Four Nations meeting may continue to be held annually and could become a valuable platform for all of us. Thank you very much. I'll give back the floor to you, Teresia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rano Wiarcha, President of AIA. We are extremely honored to hear from all four presidents from SIA, PEM, ASA, and AIA. Now, we will witness together a launching footage of Contiguous Archipelago.
I think it is a great opportunity to create its first collaborative publication to showcase architecture projects from each nation among 4 institutes: SIA, PAM, IAI, and ASA. This book will be a great platform to promote architectural design that can encourage best practice into international recognition and inspire architects among the 4 nations to improve and develop the design to a higher standards.
The book is very unique, presenting the best architectural works from Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand, designed with a work of concept and design decision to respond the context and problem in each country. Providing knowledge and inspiration for architects, I hope the collaboration can be wider with the other countries. It's very good collaboration for the development of architecture in each country. We can learn and share each other with different diversity.
The Four Nations book shows us that despite our geographical differences, we share commonalities that transcend these physical boundaries. It exposes our common roots to approach, climate, and values, unifying us in a brotherhood of regional architectural excellence. In doing the book, we have grown closer together in terms not of just the institutes, but also as friends as well. It is my hope that this admirable effort is continued by all parties into the far future.
This book allows our architects to be more aware of the great buildings being made in our neighboring countries. It affirms that the richness and quality of the region's architectural production deserves as much attention as those from Europe, the US, as well as North Asia. I have really enjoyed getting to know my counterparts in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand in the process of making this book. I would say the collaboration and friendships formed are as important as the final product itself.
I hope all of you are enjoying the proceedings so far. There are more exciting things to come. The breakout session will start promptly after this. Be ready to choose which room you want to be. But don't worry, you are allowed to move from one break room to another. Right now we have shared attendance form. I request you all to fill out the form. Okay, while waiting for the break rooms to open, I would like to invite the 4 presidents to take a picture together. Mr. Lai Tek Chuan, Mr. Chutaya Ves Sintupan from ESA, Mr. Dato Ezumi Harzani Ismail, and also Mr. Ketutrana Wiyarcha from AIA Indonesia. I hope everyone is still in the room. Let's take a picture together. Great. Two, three, smile. Okay, thank you. Okay, now I would like to invite 4 books editor, Mr. Ye Chin from Singapore, Mr. Ratapong from Thailand, Mr. Sarli from Malaysia, and Mrs. Yasi from Indonesia to take a picture together. I hope everyone is still in the room. The 4 book editors. Your video, Mr. Yechin, Mr. Art from Thailand, Mr. Sarli from Malaysia, and Mrs. Yasi from Indonesia. Let's take a picture together. I hope everyone is ready.
Ready?
Yasi.
We are ready.
We are waiting our Yasi.
Okay. Yasi is here with me. Wait. Okay, Mrs. Yasi.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Art Ratapong from Thailand.
Yes. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, it should be Mr. Art, not me. Sorry, Art.
Okay.
I need a ticket to go to Indonesia now.
Yes, I think so. We need travel.
Sure.
Yeah, I
Can't
think
wait.
the real event.
Can't wait to meet you all.
I think all the representatives from four nations, we really miss to meet each other.
Okay, great. This is the four editor. 3, 2, 1, smile. Great. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. We will wait for the break rooms. Okay, while waiting for the break rooms, lastly, I would like to invite all committees of this event to take a picture together, maybe, with 4 presidents and 4 book editors. Do the break rooms are ready? Okay, here we are. Let's take a picture together and smile. 3, 2, 1. Cheers!
Cheers.
Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Thank you. Okay, I think the break room is ready. Ladies and gentlemen, the break rooms are ready for you. Please move to the break room you choose. Thank you, good afternoon, and enjoy the webinar session.
Why is all breakout rooms will close, yeah? Can somebody help?
I can't get into the break room. I can't get into the break room. Yeah.
adalah tempat buat bertemunya kita, para arsitek, kemudian para vendor, para pembicara untuk kolaborasi bersama-sama untuk melihat ke depan dan memajukan arsitektur Indonesia.
It's been a really good experience coming over to see the various different speakers from Indonesia and also the international speakers as well. I think it's a great idea to create dialogue between nations, and I think we've got a lot to learn from each other.
Eventnya sangat baik, memberikan banyak input ataupun masukan, juga inspirasi bagi pelaku bisnis maupun desainer-desainer di Indonesia.
AKID ini memberikan benefit yang baik. Pada acara ini, arsitek-arsitek Indonesia bisa berani lebih jauh mendorong arsitek kontemporer yang berbasis ketukangan yang peduli terhadap pengurangan energi di dalam gedung.
Buat saya acaranya sangat menarik. Dalam sesi conference kita menghadirkan arsitek ternama dari Indonesia dan di luar negeri. Di sesi pameran menurut saya juga tidak kalah menarik. Di dalamnya banyak venue-venue untuk small conference dan small talks yang menurut saya cukup dinamis.
So can anybody hear us? We are not able
Architects
to get in.
are creators.
Translating it from an idea.
Makes up the towns and cities we live in.
We are problem solvers.
A determination how the people actually live.
One of the challenges that our architects have always worked with here in Malaysia is how to create an architecture that's both contemporary but is also respectful and rooted in the many, many strong, rich traditions from each of the various ethnic communities. So we have a lot of architects working with that tradition, and we also have architects working in very modern global language, doing buildings that could be anywhere in the world.
Always try to design with cultural identity in mind. If I have to build something in Indonesia, it will be different to Malaysia because the climate is different, the cultures are different, they all are different.
Referring back to some of our historic buildings, give you a sense of a better existence and a much more cultured existence. Learning the past to understand the present and to predict the future.
When you do town planning, you're not just talking about a single building, not just physical needs, but mental and social needs. And on top of that, how do you actually imbue the enrichment of society, the enrichment of lifestyle?
Not many countries have had the opportunity to build high-quality, world-class residential townships from scratch. In Malaysia, we have wonderful townships which give people a very good quality of life.
Every place in the world has its own climate. And so designing to respond to climate is the first aspect of green design. Now, there are many architects in Malaysia who are very creatively inventive. They've come up with ideas, with systems, with devices that push for this field of green design.
What the architectural industry is offering or can offer, it can go beyond the geographical boundary of Malaysia after the Indian Ocean tsunami, at Aceh. So when I was there, the needs for architectural services in rebuilding houses, rebuilding schools, clinics, hospitals and so on are very high.
the buildings that you do shall outlive you. So it is not just for yourself and your generation, but it is for the future generation.
Architecture can't just be about design. I believe architecture should involve other people aside from architects. It could be communities, it could be other professions. Currently and will be in the future, that role of architecture is very diverse.
I do believe that the level of skill is actually very high in our Malaysian community of architects.
So you find that Malaysian architects can also work in other countries, maybe China, Africa, or India, or Australia. Basically because that ability to create.
And today, our professionals are working everywhere. Malaysian architecture is a universal service that can be offered.
The most important aspect of architecture is to make people happy. Then your purpose in life as an architect is fulfilled.
You can bring up something, really iconic, and to be remembered and to be enjoyed by the people. Other things can pass, but architecture will stand up.
Ini adalah tempat buat bertemunya kita, para arsitek, kemudian para vendor, para pembicara, untuk kolaborasi bersama-sama untuk melihat ke depan dan memajukan arsitektur Indonesia.
It's been a really good experience coming over to see the various different speakers from Indonesia and also the international speakers as well. I think it's a great idea to create dialogue between nations, and I think we've got a lot to learn from each other.
Eventnya sangat baik, memberikan banyak input ataupun masukan, juga inspirasi bagi pelaku bisnis maupun desainer-desainer di Indonesia.
AKID ini memberikan benefit yang baik. Pada acara ini, arsitek-arsitek Indonesia bisa berani lebih jauh mendorong arsitek kontemporer yang berbasis ketukangan yang peduli terhadap pengurangan energi di dalam gedung.
Buat saya acaranya sangat menarik. Dalam sesi conference kita menghadirkan arsitek ternama dari Indonesia dan di luar negeri. Di sesi pameran menurut saya juga tidak kalah menarik. Di dalamnya banyak venue-venue untuk small conference dan small talks yang menurut saya cukup dinamis.
Architects are creators.
Translating it from an idea.
Makes up the towns and cities we live in.
We are problem solvers.
A determination how the people actually live.
One of the challenges that our architects have always worked with here in Malaysia is how to create an architecture that's both contemporary but is also respectful and rooted in the many, many strong, rich traditions from each of the various ethnic communities. So we have a lot of architects working with that tradition, and we also have architects working in very modern global language, doing buildings that could be anywhere in the world.
Always try to design with cultural identity in mind. If I have to build something in Indonesia, it will be different to Malaysia because the climate is different, the cultures are different, they all are different.
Referring back to some of our historic buildings, give you a sense of a better existence and a much more cultured existence. Learning the past to understand the present and to predict the future.
When you do town planning, you're not just talking about a single building. Not just physical needs, but mental and social needs. And on top of that, how do you actually imbue the enrichment of society, the enrichment of lifestyle?
Not many countries have had the opportunity to build high-quality, world-class residential townships from scratch. In Malaysia, we have wonderful townships which give people a very good quality of life.
Every place in the world has its own climate. And so designing to respond to climate is the first aspect of green design. Now, there are many architects in Malaysia who are very creatively inventive. They've come up with ideas, with systems, with devices that push forward this field of green design.
What the architectural industry is offering or can offer, it can go beyond the geographical boundary of Malaysia.
Recording in progress.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Yasari Dahli Apurtasari. I'm so sorry about technology trouble. It's I think it's challenging for the online platform. Yeah. My name is Yasari Dahli Apurtasari. As a moderator, welcome to the presentation and discussion session in theme Fight. Fight or Religion Building is part of a chapter in Formation book, Contiguous Archipelago, collaboration book among IAA, Indonesian Institute of Architect Indonesia, PAM, Pertubuhan Arsitek Malaysia, ASA, the Association of Siamese Architect, Thailand, and CIA, Singapore Institute of Architecture. We have amazing speaker, amazing presenter from Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. I want to share the agenda. Yeah. Session 1, we have the first speaker, the first presenter, Architect Eko Prawoto, with the name of Project Padusan from Indonesia, IAA. And the second, Architect Ching Sao In, the project is Masjid Cyberjaya, Malaysia, PAM. And the third presenter, Artskarn Chayafat, the project Novice Living Quarter, Thailand, ASA. Unfortunately, architect Skarn Chayawat can present this project, but he sent a video. We can see the video. And the fourth presenters is only woman, the beautiful woman, Mrs. Elizabeth Cardoza. The project is Masjid Sultan Sulaiman, Malaysia, TIF. The project is Masjid Al Irsyad, Indonesia, IAA. And the session 2 is Q&A. Every presenter have 10 minutes time to present the project, and all the speaker presentation, we will discuss about each project. Any inquiry, question, opinion, and something idea pop up in your mind, please doesn't hesitate to write in the column chat. We will go to the first speaker, Architect Eko Prawoto, with the project Padusan. Before Architect Eko Prawoto present this project, I will read the CV. I will share first. And okay. Yeah. Mr. Eko Prawoto get a Bachelor Architect Faculty of Engineering from Gadjah Mada University and get Master from the Berlage Institute Amsterdam, and he has about more 20 years experience from design architecture since 1994, since 2000 as a chief architect at Eko Prawoto Workshop. He not only architect but also lecturer of Department of Architecture Faculty of Engineering Duta Wacana Christian University. Architect Eko Prawoto, please, time is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Yasri. It has been an honor for me to present my simple, tiny work, actually. I will start my share screen. Actually, when this project get the award from the Indonesian Architect Association, I was very surprised because this project is kind of not really clear whether this is architecture. Very simple, no technology, is very, very humble work actually, and it located in a very, to share it with you all, I think. Means a place that we clean ourselves before we taking part of a religious, what I believe, which began and it itself. So we are not free actually in doing architecture. Architecture should be an integral part of the surrounding culturally. So this Padusan actually pilgrimage area, older, and Sendang Sono was designed by the late architect Y.B. Mangun Wijaya, who is a priest, but also an architect, and later he is a humanitarian activist. It's very famous. He passed away in 1999. Yes, his thinking is influenced my architecture practice a lot, I think. This is how it looks, very famous Catholic pilgrimage, which in Maria month, it's sometime like May or October, is full of a pilgrim. It was beautifully placed among the trees, and how he respected the contour and also some ornament, which in a way it become a kind of both feeling between ancient sacred Japanese space, like a little bit mysterious, but in a way it has also the vibrant of modern approach, but it's not really modern using industrialized material, but it's very much crafted in a very nice way, use a lot of natural materials. And when I was asked to revitalize the long route of this via, and it will end in the famous. So this is quite challenging for me, how to place these new facilities to be part of religious facilities. So from the program is very simple, just placed for washing your hand and feet, and it has also facilities for baptized. But it is more because an activities. So people like also to visit this place.
Pak Eko Prawoto. Hello, Pak Eko. I'm sorry. Maybe you can off your camera because the sound is not clearly.
We are thinking that this place should be more. I'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this problem with network. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So the idea is how to make connection between the natural landscape with the Patusan start, and then enter the long Via Dolorosa, and then Tendang Sono should be remain the peak of the beginning, the humble facilities, the idea. Articulate more in the relationship with nature, and not treat it as architecture, so to say. Next to the small river is the main agriculture, the stream itself, the flowing, which is very important and have a deep meaning for us as a human being, regardless the religion. We as a human being, water is our important source of life. And then the stone is become main element, it will be bridging the with the surrounding side. It will give a sense of time, the beginning.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, I lost.
Okay. Okay, Pak, join again.
Yeah, sorry. So I will make it fast, I think. And it's all about pathway, about walk, about flow, about journey in a meditative sense. It's about silent, peaceful mind. I will explain this very simple. In the middle of rice field, we see a place
I think Mr. Eko lost from the Zoom. Maybe we can go to the second presenter. Mr. Eko can present after the second presenter. We jump to architect Ching Sao In. The project is Masjid Cyberjaya, Malaysia, PAM. I want to share the CV. Yeah. Yeah. Architect Ching Sao In have a Garis Architect SDN BHD, have a philosophy and vision of the architecture consultant from architecture of idea.
Sorry, yes, sorry. That is not my
Yeah.
CV. That is not my CV. It's someone else's CV, but it's okay.
Oh, okay. Do you want share your CV, please?
I don't have it with me now, but I think we can skip that. It's okay. I can jump into the presentation straight away.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Soin.
No problem.
Okay.
I think the organizer have to take care of so many people across so many country regions.
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, time is yours.
Yeah, I will do a short presentation, and then if in case my network is not well, you feel free to alert me so that I can terminate it, and then we can jump into a next presenter. And then my material, I can compile it, and then I can put it online in the future for everyone if they want to refer. So you just feel free to interrupt me if you find my presentation is lagging. And I also welcome everyone to maybe during the presentation, we can all turn off our video and also the sound so that we clear up the network just in case the network is overloaded during the presentation. I hope that will help, although we don't have many people inside here. Is that okay?
Yeah, please. It's okay.
I will turn off mine as well so that it's easier. I'll turn off my videos. So everyone can turn off their video so that it's smoother. Thank you. For the mosque, today I would just like to share some ideas about the word roots. I will try to explain them in three parts: the history, climate, and people. The first part is history. Between 8th to 14th century, there is a period where many scholars call it as an Islamic Golden Age. And this is actually a kitab al-Hiyya, a manuscript. If you translate it literally, it means book of tricks. But it's not really magic tricks. It's actually a record of beautiful diagrams of valves and also tubes. This is another ingenious drawing by Al-Jazari. Would you be able to guess roughly what is actually this drawing all about? It's actually a diagram of water rising device. And it's actually a mechanical and also mathematical principle. If you can see the camshaft, the pivot, the valves, the piston, that make it become what we call as a modern day water pump. And this is actually a water wheel in Haman, Syria, between 9th to 12th century. It used the current of the river water and then the different pressure to raise the water through the pistons from the lower level to the aqueduct and the higher levels. So it's actually the water pump in our modern sense. But the knowledge of this water pump, it doesn't really happen overnight during the Islamic Golden Age. It slowly grew through an academy and also a library that was set up during that time. They call it as a house of wisdom. In that academy, they collect books from different regions and translate texts that's from Greek and Syrian into Arabic. So the breakthrough during this period, it later also spread to other regions and passed down to other civilization and now to our modern days. So if you look at cultural and knowledge in a history sense, we cannot look at history as one chapter alone. They are actually a continuity of the whole progress. The second part is on the idea of climate. The Malay archipelago words was originated from a book written by Alfred Russel Wallace. It's actually a documentation during his scientific expeditions about geography, natural history, and also people of this region. And whenever we have a discourse of architecture of this region, this image of traditional Malay house always come into our mind. And there has been extensive record on the form of the roof, the materials that we use on the roof. But there are lacking of discussion about how effective are these roofs, about different roof material, whether they are traditional or modern, what type of profile they are, what type of joint they are putting together, at what angle, and most importantly, how they actually works together with other building elements to create the atmosphere and the experience of the space. So this is a pitch roof. Pitch roof is very effective in our region because of the rainfall. It channeling off the waters quickly. And then if you have an opening on the lower part of the roof, on the opposite side, you will have cross ventilation that will take out the hot air. The shape of the roof, however, it traps the hot air that rises to the top. The rising of the hot air is because molecule, when it's heated, they expand and they start to occupy the less denser environment on a higher level, and they start to float. So sometimes at the bottom, we will have a ceiling, and the ceiling will actually allow the hot air to pass through at the lower level and then constrain the hot air only on the top part. But this solution, it poses another problem of maintenance and also services, and then sometimes with a pest problem. And in the case of the mosque, we have a jack-up on the roof, and by doing the little move up, the temperature of the buildings could actually drop to as much as 4 degrees, from 35 to 31. And we have not only one, we have actually 3 tiers of roof. This is the multi-tier of the roof, the color of the roof that reflect the sky. The jack roof with pencaka langi at the top. The structure system of the roof. The interior of the main hall with the interplay of light and the roof. This knowledge of jack roof is not really new. They are wisdom that has been existed in many old, beautiful public buildings. Surrounding the main hall, there are series of veranda, or we like to call it as a serambi, together with walkway. They are sheltered by very thin roof and open at sides. The yellow color is the main hall. The green color is the veranda or serambi. The main hall and the serambi. The veranda or the serambi, they are punctuated with opening. And one side, there was a body of water, and the other side are plantings of trees. The water cool down the temperature, and the tree provides shades to part of the buildings. The tree in the veranda, and the veranda like serambi, when the congregations grow bigger, they allow the people to actually pray also in this semi-open space together with nature. The water feature. The northeastern side of this site is actually facing a main vehicular road, and also a row of new shops on the opposite side. Coincidentally, that is also the direction of the Qibla. The orange street is actually the Mihrab wall, the wall that indicates the direction of Kaaba in Mecca and direction where Muslims should face when they are praying. It's also a place where the minbar, where Imam stands to deliver sermons. And this very significant wall, we designed to use a rammed earth wall, hand compacted, using cement and soil that come from that very land at the below. They are load-bearing wall, so the thickness can go from 3 feet right up to sometimes 5 feet. So it becomes a buffer from the main vehicular road besides the garden at the front of it. And the layer of compaction of the earth, it signifies the importance of the wall, but at the same time, is very natural as a backdrop. The third part is about the people. The mosque is built with hands of many true passions and also hard works. People involved in the projects, they come from diversity of background. Builders who know what works and what doesn't, who have the cost of material in the back of their palms, workers who have the skill and also at the same time willing to try. And many others that comes from regardless of their race, gender, or religion even. Among all of them, especially Ku, who actually pull everyone together, and he's down to earth that bonds all of us. And Alex, who always there whenever we need him. Nadia, who organized everything in the drawings and set the tone of the project. And Camelia, she bite the bullets, improve the design, and push it to this exquisite level that you can see now. And Daphne, she always plug the hole, helping in every way she can. But all this wouldn't be happen without the clients, who we often call him as his title, Tan Sri. But we should remember him more in his name, Mustafa Kamal. The final slide, I would like to show photos. This is a group of people in Jutra's design workshop, a practice where I was formerly a director and also a partner. The project reminds me of a trip that we made during Sri Lanka. We took a train leaving the capital of Colombo to a small town down south along the coastal line. It was late afternoon, evening. The train was packed like a sardine. People mostly are workers. They just came off to the work. Inside the train, there is no aircon, no electricity, no lightings. It was very primitive. The train door was kept open, even when the train is moving. As the train moved, we can see through the openings, one side is actually a breathtaking view of the sea, and the other side is all these informal, very casual, very primitive houses where all the workers live. And the wind is blowing through the trains as it moves. The photo was taken when we arrived at the station, waiting the bus to pick us up for the next destination. This trip in Sri Lanka remind me of a humble experience. Remind me about history, climate, and people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Architect Ching So. It's a very deep meaning for the mosque building. It's a very amazing presentation. I see Mr. Eko Prawoto join again. Can present again, Pak Eko Prawoto?
Shall I continue a little bit? Sorry.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
okay, Pak. Yeah, please, time is yours, Pak.
Thank you. I just continue a little bit. This is the section or the connection between the river part, which is very low, and then the beginning of the pilgrimage road. So we make a kind of ramp to allow old people or even people using wheelchair to climb up. And there is also a stair straight up. So in communication with villagers, yeah, we use a very simple sketches, and I often came to the site and then talk to the worker and explain about everything. So it is a very simple communication, but very effective, because if I provide computer drawing, maybe they don't really understand about that means of communication. So we rather use simple sketches on the side. This really a kind of a handmade handmade structure. A lot of manual work, especially done by women, putting stones one by one. So the detail is really manual in a way. Yeah. So we use a lot of river stones to make the structure. Actually, this is separating a wall between the ablution place and then the baptistry, and we divided into two groups, for women and for men. Okay. I hope that in the future this wall will be accepted by the nature, and the moss grow, and it's become like a very ancient or even archaic ruins to blend with the nature. This is some detail or the experience of the space with the various patchwork of the stones. This is the ramp that we climb up and to meet the pilgrimage road. And you could see here from the surrounding, there are 4 roofs with holes to allow the light come through, and below it's just a place for baptistry. And this is how how it looks blended with the surrounding nature. And yeah, this is just a small hope that maybe Patusan, even it is very tiny, small, humble project with no technology at all, done by hand with the villagers, it's a kind of a silent whisper in the landscape for the people to enjoy the meditative journey to Sendang Sono. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Eko Prewoto. Actually, I already seen the presentation more than one, and I was speechless because I exploring is the very beautiful and deep meaning. Okay, we are go to the next speaker, architect Skarn Chai Iachat. Unfortunately, he can join. I will share his CV. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Skarn Chayawat architect, he got the Bachelor Architecture from the Chulalongkorn University, Bangkok, Thailand, and he has experience design almost 10 years since 2011, and since 2000 he has Ltd as a founder director architect, and he got award as an architectural design award 2018. I will share this video.
From Bangkok, Thailand.
Is the video is clear? Hello, I need a response.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna present you a project called Novice Living Quarters in Bhutanimit Temple. So, let me share the screen. So Bhutanimit Temple is located in the northeastern part of Thailand, in a province called Udon Thani. The temple is served as a place to gather people in the community since very long time ago. And it's not only a place to gather people, but it is also a school. So family who cannot afford to send their sons to public school, they would send their sons to this temple to enroll as novice monks. And the novices, they would stay at the temple as a boarding school. And this is how the dormitory looked like. And since the number of the novices increased, the school required more rooms for the novices to stay. So the headmaster monk approached us and asked us to design a new dormitory for them. And when we visited the site, we found that in order to build a new dormitory, we have to cut down a lot of trees. So we try to find an alternative. And during the site inspection, we stumbled upon this abandoned building. It was used as a storage building, and the condition was not quite good. The space was a little bit too dark, so nobody really used this space. Then we came up with a plan to renovate this abandoned building into a new dormitory. So this way we not only save the trees, but the structural cost that we could save from the old structure could be used to build a new library for the school as well. So all of this could be done with the same amount of the proposed budget. And then we started to work with the monks and the novices. And so we had workshops with them. And every time that we went to the site, we tried to see how the novices like to live. And we found that the novices are not different from normal kids at all. They actually are quite naughty, and they like to stay in a group, and they like to stay in a place where the elder monks could not easily inspect them. So after several months, we came up with this proposal. So you can see the building in the middle is the renovated dormitory, and on the right-hand side is the bathroom building, and on the left is the newly built library which connects to the school building, and in front of the buildings is the public plaza, which occasionally used to gather people in the community when they have events. And this is how it looked inside of the abandoned building at first. As I mentioned, it uses as a storage rooms. So we decided to take off
Recording in
found
progress.
that a big part of his village was getting submerged by a dam project, which was resulting in a whole area of the village which had Ming and Qing dynasty houses getting submerged. And not just the houses, there was an entire forest of camphor trees that was also going to get lost to the dam. So he took it upon himself to catalog each and every one of these houses, not knowing what he's going to do with them, to dismantle them piece by piece, and brought them all the way to Shanghai and occupied these large warehouses where he placed them, waiting for the right idea and the right project to come his way. In addition to this, in addition to these pieces, he also had a lot of, which were put together very beautifully to put the hotel together. He also moved close to 10,000 camphor trees from his hometown to Shanghai and kept them in a large nursery, waiting again for the project to be conceptualized. That's when the project was introduced to us. This was in the early, in 2010. We started working on this project. It was introduced to Aman, who is one of the operators, and we were introduced to the project to try to see what we can do with these kit of parts and the 10,000 trees to create an atmosphere for a hotel. So the project that we are working on, phase 1 is Aman Yangyun, which is complete, which is what we will take you through today. The next phase is under construction, and the third phase is on the drawing board at the moment. So the master plan consists of 4 quadrants. As I mentioned, the first phase, which is Aman Yangyun, is under construction. The hotel itself is located at the junction of the 2 waterways, a lake in front and a forest. Because we could not accommodate all 10,000 trees on our site, the client was able to convince the city authorities to give him more land across the hotel, which has now become a camphor forest. And we're designing a small campus for an Ivy League college within that forest. The other 2 phases include residences. It includes another hotel, retail, as well as I mentioned, a campus for an Ivy League college. So Aman Yangyun, the hotel has been conceptualized as a series of courtyards within this camphor forest. This is a very early image of some of the trees that had been transplanted. Obviously, they've been cut back so that they can survive the transplant. But today, these trees and the canopies have grown and they merge together. So a series of courtyards and streets which have been recreated within the master plan, and guests and visitors move from one courtyard to another, and every courtyard has its own distinct character. So Aman Yangyun has 24 rooms, and that's located at the confluence of the 2 water features, and it includes a large spa, guest rooms, arrival, and 2 restaurants and the back of house. The Nanshufang, which used to be the school in the original village, is one of the most exquisitely carved pieces of architecture, and that has been moved to the center of the cultural heart of the hotel. And now it is the library of the hotel where guests can pursue calligraphy, can have different kind of events. And the oldest tree, which is around 1,000 years old, has been planted in the center of that large urban space, and it becomes part of the main landscape. In addition to the Nanchufang, the hotel has 30 villas, and each villa has 4 bedrooms. So this diagram shows the 30 contemporary villas with the contemporary living dining pavilions. And then the rest of the villas have the antique house located in the center of their gardens, of their private gardens. So this is a model of Amanyangyun that we built while we were designing it. It shows the club at the corner of the confluence of 2 water features, the pavilions along the water, the guest rooms behind, the Chinese restaurant, and the hotel arrival. So guests arrive and are dropped off at the hotel entrance, which has been kept very modest and simple. The lantern which sits on top of the hotel glows at night, is visible during the day. It becomes an important node to orient yourself within the larger community. But it also provides the main arrival space, its drama and volume. Materials have been kept very simple but modest. And as the guests arrive at the main reception, this is where they're greeted, and this is from that point they either go to their villas, to a conference facility, or to the hotel public areas. The client also builds his own furniture and uses a special wood called a Namu wood, and which is very rare. So this entire space was clad with these timber screens that we've designed for the hotel in this particular wood. And the screens, as I mentioned, they are inspired by, Amanyangyun means nurturing cloud. And the screens were inspired by the idea of a cloud motif. And we actually designed the screens so that the shadows, the pixelation of the shadows of the screen, it was in shapes of clouds. And with the sun moving over the screens at different times of the day, it gave an impression that the clouds were moving on the surfaces where the shadows fell on. So these screens are made sometimes in bronze. This is showing one of the external screens in bronze. And in other parts of the building, they are made out of elm or oak. And they also become part of the lighting fixtures that we've designed for the project. So the same screen motif and the patterns are taken through different elements of the project. This is showing the same arrival space, and the shadows from the screens, the shadows from the trees, and the nature itself on site is the artwork of the hotel. So we've kept the artwork to the very minimum. A plan of the main club, which shows the hotel, the central garden, again a series of courtyards, each courtyard with its own distinct character. It's one of the courtyards with the cigar lounge and the retail. And then the journey from one facility to another is very carefully choreographed, leading you from public to semi-public and then private. Other screens have been made in solid sandstone blocks, again giving a layer of privacy but letting natural air and ventilation flow through. So these were the nodes that I was talking about between public and private. And the main dining restaurant, the all-day dining and the Japanese restaurant are on the lakefront. And these are designed as pavilions in the landscape. That's the all-day dining with views out, 180-degree views out towards the water. And a lot of these spaces, whether it was the all-day dining, the Chinese restaurant, they were inspired by the heritage and the materiality and the volumes that we rebuilt in the antique houses, which I'll show you next. The spa. And that's the oldest tree on site, which has been dated to be close to 1,000 years old. And the school, which is now the library of the Nanshifang, and a well. Every villa has a well, and it was a whole process of how we locate these wells in each villa based on the energy of the land. And when guests come to the hotel, their way of checking in is actually to water the trees, water this particular tree. And when they leave with a sack of the seeds from this camphor trees to go back and plant in their own garden. So it's a very nice and poetic way of checking in and checking out. So each villa, as I mentioned, has 4 bedrooms, which either has a contemporary pavilion sitting within its own garden or an antique house. And the villas have been designed just like the larger master plan as a series of courtyards that you go through from one courtyard to another, and every courtyard has its own character. Villas are designed in clusters of 4 to give a feel of neighborhood. This is where you get dropped off, garage on the right, and you move from one courtyard to another. The water court, which then leads you to the main garden, within which either a contemporary living dining pavilion sits or an antique house that you're seeing here. Our challenge was to preserve these antique houses, to introduce modern amenities within these antique houses without losing its character and fabric. We designed all the accessories, artworks, furniture, carpets, rugs, and lights for the project. This is one of the landscape elements being built or put together by craftsmen in China. So the interiors of the guest room is inspired by the forms and the volumes that you find within the antique house, with internal courtyards similar to the old houses. That's the bedroom of a standard room. And that's the bathroom. As I mentioned, we've designed all the furniture, light fittings, and accessories for the project. And even the furniture itself was a very interesting study and journey for us to, design them and build them with the local artisans, especially with craft like working with hemp for the chairs and the furniture. The rugs. So each one of these elements was a different design journey. So each of these villas have quite a large basement because the buyers and the guests who are occupying these villas do have functions and do have quite a large collection of art. And these basements have cinemas and art galleries where their collection of art can be displayed and other facilities. So when we started with the antique house, because these antique houses were coming from the village, they were being moved from the village to Shanghai, we started by understanding each and every one of these antique houses, which were different in all respects from each other.
Recording in progress.
We were able to work on this project with multiple government stakeholders to come up with a new prototype. This prototype actually takes on issues that society across the world face. Kampung spirit. How do we keep this community spirit alive, especially in the very highly urbanized areas? And also, the second thing was family unit shrink, and how do we help our senior citizens in our community where they are staying on their own, that they are well integrated and have access to all the help and services to lead an independent life. Is the slide moving? Sorry. Okay. So we'll watch a very short video first. This contemporary village is located right next to the train station. So it is a prime location of real estate value. The building and its public space are connected to this public transport network. It has become a very natural focal point in the area. The overarching theme of the project is connection and innovation. And this is a new prototype that combines a very interesting mixed use, combines social housing for the elderly with public space and park, medical health and recreational amenities, retail shops, food center, and urban farm. This integrated project makes intergenerational activities and social interaction possible. We want to make sure that the residents are not pushed to the periphery of our community. Elderly who have their homes in this development can plug into the amenities and public spaces. Here, we see that they enjoy the daily conveniences and barrier-free access at the doorstep of their homes, are able to live active life. Okay. This is a site plan showing the site. It's in a very centralized location in a mature housing estate, and the typical housing estate in Singapore is mainly residential area and then quite a standalone amenities at the center of the estate. Okay, in the next, the site area is roughly just under 1 hectare, so it's about 9,000 square meter. It's a greenfield site, and we have 4 key components in this building: commercial, medical center, community, and social housing. So in the next few slides, I will use these diagrams to explain how we actually layer the programs on the site. Our first move was to put the commercial, which is the supermarket, retail shops, and food center on the ground layer. So by compacting the footprint, we are able to free the ground floor for a plaza area. Our next move was to overlay the very large footprint of the medical center over the plaza. So with this, it provides shade and shelter for the plaza, which is conducive for usability in our tropics weather. And so because we lifted the medical center to the mid layer, so all the weather activities can now take place. in a fully public, porous, and pedestrianized plaza below. So this high ceiling also allows natural daylight and breezes through, ensuring a very high degree of thermal comfort for people using the plaza. And next, we overlay the community uses of a quieter nature. In this case, it's the childcare, elder care, and social housing to the upper layer. And over these, we created a new elevated ground level by introducing a sort of like a community sky park where the young and old can come together. And topographically, we put the gardens and urban farms. It adopts this topographic architectural language of terraces and hills. And so at the foothill of this community sky park, we introduced the apartment blocks of social housing for elderly. And the hills, you can see in the diagram, effectively shielded the apartments from the train noise which is behind it. So instead of a standalone program, it's now an integrated urban village and a very tropical community.
Recording in progress.
Any questions, guys, for Peng?
Right, this is the
and,
Hi,
I have question posted on the in the chat room.
Oh, sorry, because I'm hold on. Let me just turn on my chat.
Regarding this Asalana Center, the hostel.
Oh, thank you, Asmat. What is the minimum depth of the substrate to grow horsetail plant on the roof? Is it considered extensive or is it considered extensive or intensive green roof?
Not sure. Sorry, what's the intensive and extensive different?
Maybe Asmat can explain.
Okay, actually, there are two types of green roof. The first one is extensive, which is inaccessible to public, which is the substrate is as low as 2 centimeters. And intensive is considered as roof garden. So this kind of green roof, is accessible to public, or what is the depth of the substrates to?
If you look at the rooftop view, it's actually there are some hardscape like pathway that you can walk through the green area. And at the green area, if I'm not wrong, the soil depth is maybe 450 mm.
So it is considered as intensive green roof.
Yeah. Because the plant that we put there.
Hostel plants on the roof.
Sorry.
Is it easy to grow the hostel plants on the roof?
Is it easy to grow the horsetail plants on the roof? That's the question.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it is easy, Asmat.
Yeah. No.
I think the amazing thing is that there is such a huge roof area that is hidden. This is a terrace going up, right?
This is yes, but this part, the front part, is more like only the soil, only no actual structure.
So this is soil then.
Yeah, this is just we top up the soil at the front only.
Yeah. So there's a hidden entrance here, right? Coming into this is the courtyard. Coming into this courtyard, then you have the structure. But if you're coming from the road, you don't know that there is something hidden behind.
Correct.
Yeah, and here also you have done almost a barrier to keep everything very much hidden. Here also is hidden, so it's almost a very private sanctuary almost. And the only thing that is visible from afar is this pergola sort of thing. Is it a rest area or something like that, or what is the function of this structure?
It's a rest area, and originally this was like a cafe.
A cafe? Oh, okay.
Cafe there, and then people can like just walk around and enjoy sitting around here. Yeah, and take a view in the front.
So,
we actually can all go there when the COVID is over.
so as a public building, a lot of public buildings they tend to be more open, and it is almost surprising that this one is designed almost to be very closed, yeah, and private. Um, a lot of public buildings, you know, they want exposure to the street and people to come in. What's your thought on that? Peng?
Because it's located like very quite outskirts of Chiang Mai city. It's surrounded, but if you look at the other image, it's only like very low density houses, and the Association of Siamese Architects they don't want to have many guard or anyone who like stay there to building. Yeah. So the idea of the painting part of that enclose it.
Mm-mm. So this is the local chapter of the ASA, right?
Yes, correct. They will have like a media party or something like that. Yeah, exhibition or seminar.
Wow. Okay. This is a party here. Is this you in the middle?
No, that's not me.
Okay.
But I believe the editor, Kun Art, I think he's one of them among the party goers.
Oh, you mean Art? Art was here.
Yeah.
Okay, I can believe that because I've seen him party. So yeah. uh, it's really nice project and the typology is basically an office. The function is a public office, right? So you would not think about it as a public office from the pictures and the way that you enter the building and sort of experience the building, but it is an office, and it's very interesting that this has so much similarities with Pak Danny's work just now, where it's also a working place, but it's so artistically done. Any other questions for any one of our speakers? We have maybe from Chin. You are a contractor. What's your comment on this?
Very well designed. I'm just curious, where do you all cleverly hide the drainage? Because this is like sunken, and I don't see any slip or anything in the maybe certain areas, but I assume it rains heavily in this area, right? So how do you manage the ponding and the water flow? It has to be a very fast drainage system, right?
Yes, we do have something like overflow on the side. Yeah, but it was not in the picture or in front. So like if it heavily rain, it will go to the sideway.
Fantastic, man. I don't see it. It's so good.
It's hidden underneath all the planters, right? Is it?
That's a normal drain, but we have a second drain as an overflow.
Ah, okay.
The party area where they had the drinks just now, the tables, that is the main area, right? So that area is the most prone to ponding area, I would assume.
The center part.
The center part.
Okay. We do have drain.
This part, yeah.
See, you don't see the drainage is so cool.
I think the drainage is all around this.
Or is it the slip drains, right?
Yeah.
It's very similar to
like a micro drain.
They use steel
50,
steel bars, yeah.
The 50 mm. Okay, nice.
Yeah. If it's not nice, it will come into the book.
Yeah. You really want to go there, this place, yeah.
Definitely, I think this is a public building, so I think there will be this central area is also hosting not just party but also talks and events and whatnot. So uh, I it looks very enticing to go. Any other questions? Perhaps the speakers asking each other. I'm not sure. We have uh, we have 70 people in the room, so
Can I just ask a layman question? How long did it take to build this?
This one. Oh, uh, I think about a year or less. Yeah.
which is pretty fast for a
Very
complicated.
fast, very fast, very fast.
For your information, Chin is a contractor from Malaysia, so he's not an architect. So he's amazed by your speed of construction, I guess. But there's a lot of details to do. Usually, details take longer to fabricate.
Yeah, and
Uh,
there's no room for mistake because you cannot hide the mistake. Everything is like in raw form, right? So you have to do it right the first time. You can't touch up. You can't repair it later on. So making it very fast and having no room for mistake. Wow, that's good.
but I think that is where the the issue is actually with the construction industry. Malaysian construction industry, unfortunately, has not much skilled workers as
Yeah, no,
opposed
no.
to other countries because
Yeah.
uh, a lot of the really good workers they don't want to travel, and those who travel to Malaysia actually are training when they are very good. They go to the Middle East or somewhere else. So we don't have local people who are actually constructing. That is why sometimes AJ, would you say our local construction is a bit unskilled?
Yeah, very. So that's why we put more emphasis in planning and mitigation than whereas as compared as if you have skilled workers, right, your planning and mitigation efforts are minimized.
Hmm. I think there's a huge degree of craftsmanship here as well. I mean, like, uh, you can't have a bricklayer who is untrained do this kind of brickwork. It is totally impossible, and unfortunately, the majority of bricklayers that we are exposed to here are untrained. So it's very difficult to give them a drawing and expect a beautiful finished product, whereas these are done by tradesmen or craftsmen. Yeah. I think there's a huge that's why I think the idea about craftsmanship being a part of the industry is equally as important, not just to timber buildings like the homestay, but also to these more modern buildings, because there is a degree of craftsmanship when you need to do these this concrete finishing, this this concrete finishing is cast in situ, or
Yeah.
with timber strips, is it?
It's with a bamboo strip.
Oh, bamboo strips. Then you bamboo strip become the formwork. Then you take out the bamboo.
And this one has to be younger bamboos, right? Cannot be the older one because I see the gaps are smaller. Ah, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
and you can see the drain here as well, AJ. If you
Yes, now I can see it. Yeah, the gravel, right?
the gravel is all subsoil drain
I
beneath the
see.
gravel. Mm. But it's done so well that if you quickly scroll over, you miss it.
I initially thought it's like, the slimmer stones where you slot it standing. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have much of the steel here. Yeah.
I think their
Next time
strength.
we follow the detail from condo. Yeah.
Peng, we're losing you. Hello?
Hello, can you hear?
Yeah, your connection just dropped out a bit.
Okay. Oh, I was saying next time maybe we use a steel detail like what condo do.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like brick, but actually it's steel. Very smart, very smart. I think that's the ingenious things that I'm learning a lot by just being involved in this book and looking at how people construct and how people construct elsewhere in the world as well. Uh, the amount of I'm surprised like for this studio I putih Pak Denny, these trees are existing or did you plant them or
I planted.
you
Wow.
planted?
Planted, yeah.
So have to relocate these huge trees, which is they look very very matured. Yeah.
Actually, the construction is very long. It's almost 3 years. So the tree
3 years?
have time to grow up. Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's a labor of love because it's your own office. No rush. You are the client, right?
Actually, it's about the budget.
Ah, okay. So you it's slow because the you don't want to spend your money too fast. Okay, I understand. That is a very frank answer for why the project took so long. For the homestay, I still see some air conditioning being put into the building. How does this work? Yeah, because can you close this?
Okay. Just to admit first that when the client approached us, we have asked them several times whether they would love to have the AC or not. But then they said no, should have all the people come here to experience the weather. And then after it's completed for a month, then the client said, I want to install AC.
Oh.
So it's not
Yeah.
the plan, yeah, but then we just be honest with what has been there. Yeah.
But how does it function? Yeah, sorry, somebody asking something? Somebody said something?
Actually, I did.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Yep. So actually, there's two partitions. So the first part is like the sliding doors, and the outer part is actually like the swing windows. So we provided like 2 layers so that like in the winter, it's not too cold, but we cannot beat the summer. It's too hot.
I see, I see, I see.
Mm.
Chiang Rai is actually quite cold. For Southeast Asian standard lah. Southeast Asian standard. Maybe perhaps not the Italian client standard, but I think for Southeast Asian standard is pretty almost like in the highlands and stuff. I was wondering, would you consider like double layering the roof with insulation perhaps would help the thermal performance?
Oh, we do have that. If you,
Oh, you do
if
have
you
that.
see,
Oh.
yeah, you see from the bedroom, the underneath the ceiling is different from outside.
Ah, okay,
This
okay,
page,
okay.
you could see, maybe I call it here. This is, maybe I say this is one, and then you see this is two. The number two,
Right.
you can see the roof tiles laid without anything. But then when you go into the room, we have the timber ceiling, and in between the roof tile and this timber ceiling, we have the insulation.
Right. So it is there is insulation and still you need air conditioning, yeah? Wow. Okay. Because I would imagine it would be quite comfortable with the insulation there. Wind condition also is good in Chiang Rai, right? There's a good amount of wind
Yeah,
because
this
of the
actually
hills.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. I think it would be interesting if there would be some studies, I mean like real data-driven studies on temperature change by some local universities or someone. Maybe even you guys could data log some differential changes in temperature and whatnot, so that you can really actually understand the performance of this building. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
where uh, traditional architecture lacks, because sometimes traditional architecture outperform modern buildings, but there is no data to support. So
Good point. Yeah, we took it. Yeah, we'll find some funding.
I'm sure you will. Perhaps some grant from ASA.
Yeah, yeah.
Ahmad Surah is raising his hand or something. Is that Ahmad Surah? Do you want to ask a question? Nope.
I'm thinking off the top of my mind, it could be a architectural study trip to visit all these places, within the same period.
Yeah.
So like heritage is heritage, faith, like this one, ecology.
But actually, that is the crux of the Four Nation, AJ. Actually, when there is a big show, like the ASA, they have their big uh, uh, what do you call that show? Yeah, the ASA, not convention. Is it convention?
Oh, you call it งานอาสา what do you yeah maybe
Exposition.
Exposition, yes, it's a big expo, and then
Yeah.
we all go there, and they will provide tours for us usually. Yeah, so
Serious, huh?
serious, you can
Wow.
join there, and it's not just about for architects; it's also a lot to do with their building products as well. So it's good exposure for, and it's similar to what we do here in Malaysia, Datum, or just now you saw Singapore
Okay,
did
okay.
Archifest, and
Mm.
Indonesia have their Arc ID. So it's all similar. And when we go to each other's exposition or a convention, then we get these tours. So yes, AJ, if you want to experience some of these buildings, we'll drop you an email when the time comes.
Perfect. Let me know.
Yeah. And Pak Danny will invite us to his office. um, any other questions, guys? I I was hoping for more questions from the floor. Okay, here's one from. Sorry, I was not looking at the chat so much. Here's one from Jit Yuan Chan. Question: any treatment for the bricks flooring to prevent slipperiness, especially in tropical countries? I guess this is oh, it's a direct message to me, so I'm not sure for which speaker. I guess for all the speakers that are dealing with brick flooring. How do you is there any treatment for the bricks, or is it just it's just as is?
We have that problem as well in the center court of the Asa Lana. But when we try it, we try to make sure that it has sunlight as much as possible, so you don't have
So this area.
yeah, correct, that area. Yeah. So if it has sunlight, then it won't have a sleeping problem. Yeah.
But there's no special treatment, right? It's just
For us, we don't
it's a
have
normal
special.
brick.
Yeah. But we
Uh,
can use the brick here is a handmade brick, so the texture is not so smooth.
Right. So there is a differential there. Uh, Pak Daddy didn't use bricks as the flooring material. He's is this polished concrete? I assume.
It's not a polished concrete. That one is a product. The brand is Silica. It's Germany chemical. Just for it like then self-leveling.
Oh, it's a self-leveling product. Wow. Okay.
Is it Pandomo?
It look like concrete, but actually like just like a paint, but they have a texture like concrete.
Oh. It has a if you don't Pak Danny's sound is not so good. What he said was it has a texture like concrete, but it's not. It's a self-leveling product that you just pour on the floor so that it self-level into something very smooth.
Is it called Pandomo?
The product name is silica.
Silica. So do they mix it with ice before they pour it?
I don't think so.
I mean, as in a very cold water. No.
No.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay. Oh, Ahmad Surah. Ahmad Surah just said no. He didn't have any questions. Amazing work and details. Admire with Carpenter. Wow. I think Carpenter would be the first project. Yeah. The homestay. Okay. I think if there are no more questions, I would like to sort of like bring our session to a close. Perhaps with parting remarks from each one of our architects, starting with the uh, the first one, Pure Pai and partner.
Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, let me unshare for. Okay, my screen is all over the place. Stop share. Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
So we're really happy that we can be here, being stuck in Bangkok for quite a long time and not be able to go to site or anywhere. I think seeing the other people's architecture and the other places to be visited, and we keep in mind. And then we hope that one day we can go to the other architecture, the regions in the region, to visit and then share our knowledge together. I think this book. Yeah.
Five and Bang, what is the most important lesson that you learned from this project?
Ah. we were just dreaming of like going abroad and then like visiting all the other places. Sorry, it's stuck in our mind. I think the most important thing is that actually for this project, we have another role of not just being the designer who demanding the details and all the architecture to look like what we do, but we actually went up there to work with the carpenter and work with the builder. So we actually learned a lot of things, and then we thought that this experience is actually changing the way we practice architecture.
Right. So it's your ideal, being able to work on your ideal, which is wonderful. Okay, let's move on to Pa and Neo for the artistic park. Any parting words?
I think the most important thing that we learned from this work is to negotiate with the community. Wow. Because our architecture is not for us, but for them and for the city that they have to dealing with. And so we try to like balance between the desire from the community and also from the city and also for the government. So this is the thing that we learned from this project.
Right. Do you have any advice for us to build better, or greener, or more sustainable?
I think we all understand this kind of problem and also what which aim that we should go. So if everyone helps together, so we will have the better world. I believe that.
So to sum up, community engagement and working together will build a better world. What great words to end the presentation with. Okay, let's move on to Pak Danny with his office, Studio Air Putih. Any parting words?
For me, what I learned from this project.
Can you just speak louder, because some of the sound, that your sound is very faint and everybody wants to hear you. They're afraid that they might miss your invitation to go to your party. So can
Okay, sorry for my poor sound, yeah. But what I'm learning for from this project is this communication between the design, the architect, and the contractor is very important. If we do direct to the worker, yeah, what we want to have with the material, I think everything is going to be good. Not just drawing, but we have to direct and directly explain to the worker. I think the result will be very good.
okay. So if you did not hear what Pak Danny said, is interacting with the workers directly, having that instruction directly from the architect to the worker, very important to ensure that the quality is achieved. Yeah. Mm. Okay. Do you have any advice for us? How to get an office like this, Pak Danny?
Actually, actually, I do a project that many architects don't want to do. I just collect all the project that the architect don't want, and I do it.
You collect all the projects that the architects don't want, you do it, and then you collect enough money to do the project that you like. Okay, guys, that's very good advice. Okay, let's move on to our ASA Lana Center. Peng.
Okay. What I learned, actually, if you know my portfolio or my other projects, most of my projects are like condominium or like in the city. And what I actually learned from doing the work in Chiang Mai is that I learned to appreciate like locality and people in I would say in majority of my country is not in city like rich people. So in order to appreciate, to learn a lot of things like material and like communication, local craftsmanship, yeah, all that. That's open another view to the practice as well.
Okay, nice to hear that. I think that is one of the conundrums of being an architect. Saying you have already you have you are always serving the rich,
Yeah.
and now you are starting to serve a community, and I think that resonates very well with what has been said before about community engagement and appreciating a certain scale of building as well. And done really well. And I think the only thing I can say is time to visit North Thailand, because most of these projects are in the north rather than in the south where we always go to. Yeah, so time to plan a visit after this. Uh, I have in the chat a request by Architect Mustafa to say a few words. You can, Architect Mustafa, what do you want to say?
To all the team that did this continuous archipelago, EIE, SIA, PAM, and also ASA. I'd like to congratulate you all for this auspicious book and very important book, because this is one of the ways that we can actually promote our local architecture to the world. And I think should be can continue with some other projects as well, and to encourage younger practitioners to also partake in this. So I'd like to say hello to some of my old friends there, Pak Danny. So I've been to your place when in 2019 during one of the building shows so I was there, so I witnessed that thing. So
So
glad
the
to
new
be
office
there.
then. You
Yes,
had
yes,
to,
yes, yes,
yes,
yes.
okay. So you're lucky.
So
Just before the pandemic.
yeah. Nice to do, and to my friends from Thailand also, and also unfortunately there's another architect cannot show, but hope we should have one from Malaysia also next time from the ecological side. Okay. So so itulah. So just want to express thank you and also congratulations to all. And Salih, well done for the moderation. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Mustafa. I think a lot of Malaysian projects went to faith. A lot of I think we have a lot of faith projects. So it's how the system works is that each country gives the editorial team a bunch of projects that have won awards in the past year in their relative award cycles. They select 5 projects out of each country. So it's a fairly equal selection of 5. But fortunate or unfortunate, most of the projects that comes into the ecology ambit is from Thailand. And none from Malaysia. So maybe that says something. I don't know, but we'll try again in the coming years. And with that, I hope this 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 book, this Four Nations book, it does not stop here. We will still continue doing it among the 4 nations. That means in another 2 years, we'll try to come up with another book, and let's see how the narrative goes then. The idea is to open up architectural discourse. At least we are talking about our architecture instead of flipping through some European journal or websites. Yeah. So we are talking about each other's work and enjoying each other's work, I guess. And I really enjoyed all the works that has been displayed here. Thank you everybody for your input. With that, the organizers have asked me to take a photo, but I'm not sure how that done. Is it a screenshot thing or will they do it? Organizer, maybe how do we take the photo? Yeah.
Normally it's a screenshot, Salih.
No, because they have a
screenshot, Salih.
Okay. I can. I'm at a loss. I can do my own screenshot. Because they have a. If you notice the Studio AIA screen here, I can. There is a selection of. They actually have back end people who are arranging stuff and whatnot. But I guess you're right, Alvin. Let's just go for screenshot. Okay, smile everybody. Let me capture the next screen. Yep. Okay. Beyond that, not many turning on their. Thank you guys for coming. With that, I think we have finished our official breakout room for ecology. Hopefully, this will give some insight on building more sensitive buildings and more sensitive architecture, yeah, and with higher quality of workmanship and craftsmanship as well, yeah.
With higher quality of work and craftsmanship as well.
Okay, thank you guys. I would leave the room. There are some.
Recording in progress.
ini adalah tempat buat bertemunya kita, para arsitek, kemudian para vendor, para pembicara untuk kolaborasi bersama-sama untuk melihat ke depan dan memajukan arsitektur Indonesia.
It's been a really good experience coming over to see the various different speakers from Indonesia and also the international speakers as well. I think it's a great idea to create dialogue between nations, and I think we've got a lot to learn from each other.
Eventnya sangat baik, memberikan banyak input ataupun masukan, juga inspirasi bagi pelaku bisnis maupun desainer-desainer di Indonesia.
AKID ini memberikan benefit yang baik pada acara ini. Arsitek-arsitek Indonesia bisa berani lebih jauh mendorong arsitek kontemporer yang berbasis ketukangan yang peduli terhadap pengurangan energi di dalam gedung.
Buat saya acaranya sangat menarik. Dalam sesi conference kita menghadirkan arsitek ternama dari Indonesia dan di luar negeri. Di sesi pameran menurut saya juga tidak kalah menarik. Di dalamnya banyak venue-venue untuk small conference dan small talks yang menurut saya cukup dinamis.
Architects are creators.
Translating it from an idea.
Makes up the towns and cities we live in.
We are problem solvers.
A determination how the people actually live.
One of the challenges that our architects have always worked with here in Malaysia is how to create an architecture that's both contemporary but is also respectful and rooted in the many, many strong, rich traditions from each of the various ethnic communities. So we have a lot of architects working with that tradition, and we also have architects working in very modern global language, doing buildings that could be anywhere in the world.
Always try to design with cultural identity in mind. If I have to build something in Indonesia, it will be different to Malaysia because the climate is different, the cultures are different, they all are different.
Referring back to some of our historic buildings, give you a sense of a better existence and a much more cultured existence. Learning the past to understand the present and to predict the future.
When you do town planning, you're not just talking about a single building, not just physical needs, but mental and social needs. And on top of that, how do you actually imbue the enrichment of society, the enrichment of lifestyle?
Not many countries have had the opportunity to build high-quality, world-class residential townships from scratch. In Malaysia, we have wonderful townships which give people a very good quality of life.
Every place in the world has its own climate. And so designing to respond to climate is the first aspect of green design. Now, there are many architects in Malaysia who are very creatively inventive. They've come up with ideas, with systems, with devices that push forward this field of green design.
What the architectural industry is offering or can offer, it can go beyond the geographical boundary of Malaysia. After the Indian Ocean tsunami, at Aceh. So when I was there, the needs for architectural services in rebuilding houses, rebuilding schools, clinics, hospitals and so on are very high.
buildings that you do shall outlive you. So it is not just for yourself and your generation, but it is for the future generation.
Architecture can't just be about design. I believe architecture should involve other people aside from architects. It could be communities, it could be other professions. Currently and will be in the future, that role of architecture is very diverse.
I do believe that the level of skill is actually very high in a Malaysian community of architects.
So you find that Malaysian architects can also work in other countries, maybe China, Africa, or India, or Australia. Basically because their ability to create.
And today, our professionals are working everywhere. Malaysian architecture is a universal service that can be offered.
The most important aspect of architecture is to make people happy. Then your purpose in life as an architect is fulfilled.
You can bring up something, really iconic, and to be remembered and to be enjoyed by the people. Other things can pass, but architecture will stand out.
Ini adalah tempat buat bertemunya kita para arsitek, kemudian para vendor, para pembicara untuk kolaborasi bersama-sama untuk melihat ke depan dan memajukan arsitektur Indonesia.
It's been a really good experience coming over